Huh? Good morning, dear students. So this is my first class. Let me tell you the detailed syllabus. So this year, all of you know, due to Corona pandemic, government has reduced the syllabus, and the revised syllabus is as follows. Let me tell you, there are 5 units in English, 100 marks. Full marks 100. Unit 1 prose, Unit 2 poetry, Unit 3 non-detailed study, Unit 4 writing skills, Unit 5 grammar, and I have written the 3 units in the board. All of you look. In Unit 1 you have prose. The first chapter is standing up for yourself. Second chapter, the legend behind legend. The third chapter, in London in minus force. And in Unit 2 you have poetry. So there are 4 poems there. Only one poem has been dropped. There are 4 poems. First poem, stopping by woods on a snowy evening. Second one, up in the stilly night. Third one, the Inkscape rock. And the fourth one, to my true friend. Similarly, in case of non-detailed study, there are 3 stories there. First one, 3 questions. Second one, after 20 hours. Third one, the open window. Let me write another 2 units, and these 2 units are writing skills and grammar. So I have already told you that the syllabus has been reduced, and in this case little bit syllabus has been squeezed, but that is for your benefit. Why? Because you get some extra time to prepare your physics, chemistry, mathematics and biology. In English only some chapters have been cut down, and in this case let me tell you Unit 4, and in Unit 4 you have writing skills. All of you know English is about writing. If your writing is not good, then you cannot write a perfect sentence. And here first one, the first chapter is writing a paragraph. Writing a paragraph. All of you know it is very difficult. You can write one essay, but writing a paragraph is difficult. Then number 2 chapter, that is second one, developing ideas into paragraphs. Just look at it. Developing ideas. Developing ideas into paragraphs. Into paragraphs. And here all of you look at. So definitely it is also difficult. Then the third one is coming. Writing personal letters and notes. Writing personal letters and notes. All of you look. Wherever you go, where you stay, you have to write letters to different bodies and different authorities. And number 4th is writing applications. Writing applications, official letters and business letters. All of you, this is very important in day-to-day activities, because all of you look in the writing skill. I have written the 4th one and the 5th, the last one in writing, that is using graphics. What is the last one? Means here non-verbal information to be converted into verbal, and verbal information to be converted into non-verbal. So using graphics means, suppose words given. Let me clarify this one to you. Words given in information, that is words given in information, and you have to convert that into non-verbal, that is diagram. Non-verbal, that is diagram, that is diagrams, charts, tables, etc. Let me clarify. So this one is very important section. All of you look at it. So in case of writing section, you get the first one, writing a paragraph. You have to write a paragraph of 70 words or 50 words or 80 words, definitely you have to know the skill of writing a paragraph. The second chapter is developing ideas into paragraphs. How can you develop paragraphs? Because that is obviously one idea. Then third one, writing personal letters and notes. I have already told you that without letters, without applications, without official letters, you cannot survive in this world, because this world is a modern world where you have to write letters to the police authorities, to the collector, to the deputy collector, to everybody. So that's why the fourth unit is writing applications, official letters and business letters. And the fifth one is using graphics. What is that? Words given. Information is available in words. Your duty is to convert that into non-verbal, that is diagrams, charts, tables or etc. And let me tell you, move to the last unit. So I have already told you there are 5 units in English. Little bit reduction in syllabus, but that is really helpful. Not a great reduction, that definitely little bit reduction. And the 5th unit is about grammar. So unit 5th is about what? So grammar. So all of you know grammar is always key. And there are 3 chapters given in grammar. The first one is about modal verbs, and the second one is about prepositions. Second one is prepositions, and the third chapter in grammar, that is about the imperatives. The imperatives. So all the chapters might have been taught in high school level, but let me clarify, these are the 3 things which you have to learn in plus 2 first year. First one, modal verb. There are 13 modal verbs available. We can teach one by one. Prepositions, you have to remember what are the uses of preposition, and by different uses how the meanings are changing. And the last one is the imperatives. So here I will start a book, and definitely all of you look, poetry will start. This is the book, and the book is known as Invitation to English 1. Invitation to English 1. This book contains prose as well as poetry chapters, and we have 4 poems available. I have already told you that only 1 poems have been reduced according to the modern syllabus. So page number 100. So let me tell you the page number 100, the first poem we have, and I am just writing the title of the poem, and you just get the primary information. But before starting, let me tell you what is the difference between prose and poetry. What is the difference between prose and poetry? Suppose I ask one question, what is the difference? So prose and poetry, definitely there are some differences available. First one, poetry, all of you look, prose is always, first point, it is always straightforward. It is always straightforward. Number 2 point, it is prosaic. It is prosaic. Number 3, it is written. It is written in paragraph style. It is written in paragraph style. Paragraph style. Number 4, lack of music. Lack of music. But these are the other points where you get it is full of musical. In case of poetry, you get full of musical. Number 2, it is lyrical. Number 3, it is stanzaic in pattern. Stanzaic in pattern. It is stanzaic in pattern. It is heart touching. All of you know, always it is heart touching. It is soothing. Soothing means very comfortable to the ear. Very comfortable to the ears. So these are the classifications. These are the differences between prose and poetry. What is a prose? You have read lot of prose chapters in your life in high school level. All of you know prose is about straightforward lines. Prose is about fact. Prose is about information. There is no music. There is lack of lyrical thought. There is lyrical bent is not available. So in that case, you get poetry which is musical, which is lyrical, which is stanzaic in pattern, which is heart touching, which is soothing to ears. And another most important point also available. So that is here grammar deviation is available. You remember grammar deviation. What is that? To make the poem more musical, the poets have deviated from the grammar rule. In case of prose, all of you look, so prose is 100% grammar oriented, prose is 100% about truth, information, facts, but in poetry you don't have. And here the first poem which I am going to teach you is about stopping by woods on a snowy evening. Look at the title. So what a great title, and the name of the poet is Robert Frost. So he is one of the second best romantic poets of English literature. He is famous for his natural concept, natural theme. And here let me tell you the title of the poem. So the title of the poem is Stopping by Woods. Stopping by woods on a snowy evening. So this is the title, and the poem is written by Robert Frost, famous American poet, and he always writes poem on two themes, two basic themes. First one is nature, second one is common man. So now let me tell you about this poem, and look at the title. And here, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. So the title suggests a lot of things to you. So what is the title? Stopping by Woods. So here the person, the narrator, the poet has stopped at a particular place, and the natural beauty of the place is described in the title itself, that is the snowy evening. And here let me tell you something about the poet. Robert Lee Frost is one of the most popular and critically acclaimed American poets. He is highly regarded for his realistic depictions of rural life and his command of American colloquial speech. So the language of his poetry is very simple, colloquial. What do we mean by colloquial? Day-to-day language, day-to-day. Suppose in a family you talk a language. What is the language you talk in family? That is very much simple and day-to-day language. So similarly, Robert Frost has used very simple language in the poem. His poetry reveals a keen interest in the varying beauties of nature and the apparently small but deeply meaningful joys and sorrows of ordinary men and women. I have already told you there are two basic themes. So what are the two themes? What are the two themes that Robert Frost wrote? One is nature. The second one is ordinary. Look at it. Ordinary men and women. Ordinary men and women and their problems. Look at the beautiful themes, and from this you can get the ideas. So look at what is the first thing, that is the nature. And all of you know the greatest nature poet is William Wordsworth, and Robert Frost is the second best nature poet in the history of English literature. And here the first theme of the poet is nature, and the second theme, what is the second theme? Ordinary men and women and their problems. So in our day-to-day life we really come across a lot of problems, and this poet has dealt very much beautifully, and he has given solutions to us while writing the poems. And here let me tell you the other important information about the poet. His poetry reveals a keen interest in the varying beauties of nature and the apparently small but deeply meaningful joys and sorrows of ordinary men and women. So in warm up we get the gist or the summary of the poem. So you must be interested to know what is the summary. So the title we have already got. What is the title of the poem? So the title of the poem is Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. Definitely the poet has stopped at a place because he is attracted by the nature. He is attracted by the nature. So the nature is beautiful. What is the nature described in the title? Snowy evening. Snowfall is there and it's the evening time. So it's a natural beauty. So that's why the poet has stopped. And now let me tell you the warm-up which is given in the book, and in the warm-up most probably you get the summary of the poem. This is the summary. Do you know this poem was a great favorite of Jawaharlal Nehru. All of you know Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India. He loved this poem. Why he loved this poem? Because this theme of the poem is really brilliant, and there is a great message in the poem. There is a great message. What is that message? I will tell you. Perhaps this poem reminded him of his responsibility. Why Nehru likes this poem? Because this poem tells the readers about our duties, about our responsibilities. So that's why Nehru likes this poem. On the surface, this is a simple poem. Suppose as a reader, you might not feel the importance of this poem. It looks like simple, but it has a deep message, it has an internal message. The speaker stops his horse by some woods on a snowy evening. He takes in the lovely scene in the near silence, is tempted to stay longer, but acknowledges the pull of obligations and the considerable distance yet to be travelled before he can rest for the night. So in this poem you get the poet has a journey. So he is riding a horse. While he is riding a horse, so he has stopped at a particular point. Why does he stop? He stops there in order to enjoy the beauty, but he can't stay there for longer time. Why he can't stay there for longer time? Because he is reminded of his responsibilities. He is attracted by the beauty of nature, but he has to go. He has to move forward. What does it tell? It tells about the responsibility of the person. It tells about that the narrator, the poet is a responsible man, because he cannot stay there for long time and forgetting about his duty. So that's why Nehru remembers this poem, because this poem reminds him of his responsibilities, of his obligations, of his duties. Let me tell you the other important lines of this poem. But at the deeper level, the journey through the woods is suggestive of journey through life itself. Beautiful line. So what is the inner meaning? The poet is making a journey, and the journey is carried on through the forest, and this journey, the symbolical meaning is that it's a journey of life. It's a journey of life. The deeper meaning, the speaker stops for a brief time to meditate and realizes that he needs to continue his journey. The famous phrase, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep, not only refers to the physical distance, physical distance of the trip, but also the long life ahead of him. Read the poem and feel how inspiring it is. So definitely this poem is brilliant. Why? Because this is a journey of life, and in this journey the poet can't stop there. That means the poet can take rest there. Why? Because he has a long life. And here there are two particular words used. Look at the words. The first word is journey, and this word journey has dual meaning. What is the dual meaning of this word? Let me clarify. So the first meaning is that is physical journey. That is physical journey. First meaning. And the second meaning is journey of life. Journey of life. This is the second meaning. Then another meaning, look. So there is a word sleep, and it has two meaning in the poem. The first meaning and second meaning. First meaning is physical rest. Physical rest. Second meaning is ultimate rest. Ultimate rest. Look at the meaning. So the poet is on a journey. He wants to take rest. So definitely we can discuss the detailed poem when I complete the next video and send you. So thanks a lot for having a patient hearing. And here we have just introduced the poem. Here we have just started the introductory part of the poem. We have not entered into the stanzas of poem. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.